Welcome to Extraterrestrial Reality. Well, we are not alone. That's just the bottom line of it. We are not alone in this universe. There's obviously other creatures that are intelligent that are among us. There are some here right now. We don't know what they're up to. All we can do is speculate. A lot of people have their own ideas about what's going on. I don't know how anyone could absolutely prove one way or another, but we have to speculate, right? That's all we can do. But I just want to get into why I want to talk about this. It's just the fact that we are not alone. It's been shown now that, for a fact, no doubt about it, that we're not alone. Right now, it seems like we're going through some sort of a period. Like, it seems like, recently there's been so many different things that have happened. With, for instance, the Kirkpatrick get caught lying stuff, all of that, and among everything else. And there's no even need to bring stuff up or even mention what I'm talking about, because we all know what I'm talking about. We all have the evidence now, and that's just the way it is, and it's over. It's just a matter of time until everybody finds out. I actually believe what's happening right now. I think there are some people who are in shock, ontological shock. They're having trouble accepting it. They're avoiding it. They're avoiding the evidence. There are actually people within the UFO community, I believe, who are avoiding the evidence, poo-pooing it. They don't want to talk about it. They want to continue with this cat and mouse game between the government and Lou Elizondo and everyone else and David Grush and all that stuff. And that's great. We need to keep doing that. But the bottom line is this, is that the cat's out of the bag. I mean, everyone needs to begin to understand this. It's over. It's over. Like I've talked about, I've been talking about it for over a month now. We have the end-all evidence. There's no going back. There's no going back. And there is, like I said, I believe what I feel like there's this calm. It's like we're some sort of like we're just floating there. We're not, nothing's really happening. Just people are talking. The debunkers are just, they're just acting the way they always acted. Like nothing's happened. Nothing's changed. They keep on spewing the same lies and nonsense. Like there's nothing happened. But it's over, as I've made clear. And now the reality is, we're not alone. Okay, what's next? What's next? Now, of course, We Are Not Alone became famous back in 1977 with Close Encounters of the Third Kind, the movie from Steven Spielberg. And that was one of the catchphrases to go along with that movie. We are not alone. Now we could say we are not alone with absolute certainty, no doubt about it, because we have proof. If anybody ever asks, you could say, well, look, I could just show you right here. Or if you have the time, you got 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever, I could show you right here. It's over, so don't worry about it. Take it easy. Sorry. I'm sorry you didn't believe in it before, but guess what? It doesn't matter. I don't care about what you believe. Here's the proof. It's over. It's done. It's done. It's time to just get on with life here. And that's what I want to do. And that's what I want to try to do here on this show, on this podcast. I want to talk about the future and what's going on here. What are these beings here for? What's the message that they might be trying to send to us, if any? Now, there's a lot of people have all different kinds of ideas that they're here for their own purposes, their own selfish reasons, that they want to boot us off the planet. I'm not going to focus on that kind of explanation today. But I have a new theory that I've been thinking of about what the alien message is, and this is what it is. Basically, they've been here. People have seen flying saucers over the decades, all over the place, all over the world. There have been people who said they were abducted by aliens, and there's a lot of proof to go along with these abductions. A lot of people have seen craft that have landed. There's a lot of proof to show that these things actually were landed there. There's marks in the ground. Sometimes there's footprints. We have proof. There's evidence out there. We've had it. There's all the people that have testified to this over the decades. There's just no question about it. There's something here. And now we're at a point now where we could actually show to the world that, yeah, there is most certainly something here, despite the denials from government officials and all that. That doesn't really matter. I mean, it matters, but it really doesn't matter right now as far as everyone else should be concerned, because we have the evidence that shows that there's something here. So why are they here? What is the message? Well, I think we could go back and just think about some of the events that have happened over the decades. For instance, the 1994 aerial school incident in Ruwa, Zimbabwe, where over 60 kids, during a recess, they see a flying saucer landing, alien creatures come out. There was a handful of kids that were receiving telepathic communication from one of these beings, as we all know, and they were getting information in their heads that showed them the scenes of destruction, and that it's going to be caused by our technology. We've had all these reports of alien abductions and creating hybrid races, hybrids. There's beings among us right now that are actually half human, half alien that look just like us. Let's assume all of these things are real, that this is happening. That, for one thing, I most certainly believe that the craft came down in an aerial school. There's just no question about it. Like I've talked about a number of times, there's just no way that all those kids could contrive a story like that. And this goes for a lot of other school cases too throughout the decades. There's just no way that a bunch of school students are going to make up a story like that and stick with it for decades. That's like the instance in the Westall School back in 1966 in Australia. Similar incident where a lot of kids, hundreds of kids and teachers, staff saw UFOs flying around, landing, taking off, and then basically were told to shut up. Obviously, there's something here. There's something among us. There's just no question about it. And we have the evidence now, the proof positive evidence to show us that, all of this, there is something here. So now you have to understand why would they be here? What's the message they're trying to send? Well, what the message could be is that they've been doing these things just like people have been saying, just like researchers like David M. Jacobs. Yeah, they've been abducting people. They've been creating these hybrids. They've been creating beings that look just like human beings, and they have them sprinkled all throughout the earth. Yeah, it's all true. All of that stuff's true. Just the landing in Zimbabwe is true. All these UFO sightings, all these encounters, all of it's true. And cattle mutilations, that's another thing. They're using that probably, let's just say, for they need to eat too. Aliens are they have an appetite too, and maybe they like drinking cow's blood. Maybe they like chewing on a cow tongue or something. Who knows? Let's just say that's what it's for. I mean, because they are involved, right? I mean, let's just face it. Let's just face the reality. So, what's the message? And this is what the message might be. The message might be, okay, we've been here for a while now. You're just starting to realize that we're here, right? Well, look at what we're doing, and look what we can do, and look what we're going to continue doing unless you straighten up. Because we're not going to allow you to continue advancing technologically and then fly out into space and then bring your brand of hospitality to other worlds, which, of course, the human brand of hospitality is destroying and killing and murdering over property, over land, over area. And maybe that's what the concern is. And basically the message is if you guys don't straighten up and stop killing each other and creating weaponry that makes killing each other easier, if you don't stop that, well, guess what? We're taking you over. We're just going to continue this program we started many, many decades ago. We're here now, right? And guess what? We're just going to continue and continue and continue, and we're not going to stop, and there's not going to be anything you can do to stop us. That could be the message here, folks. That could be what the message is. I don't know. This is all pure speculation, but it is most certainly something to think about. There's no doubt about it. Actually, it's probably more of all the messages it could be. This would probably be the more optimistic when you really think about it. It could be that they don't care and they're just going to take over, right? And there is nothing we can do to change that. That could be it too. I don't know. I'm taking actually an optimistic approach here and just pointing out that what they could be doing here is that they're telling us, look at. We don't like what you're doing, and you see now, you're starting to understand that we have been here. It is true, and look what we've been up to all these years. Guess what's going to happen? We're just going to keep doing this, and eventually you'll just not exist anymore because we can't trust you. We can't trust you to go to advance anymore because guess what? We don't want your style of politics and violence to infect other worlds out there and hurt other people, other beings. That could be what the message is here, folks. They're letting us know in this way. That's the whole thing, right? And that's that. In fact, when you think about the aerial school, they're showing scenes of destruction, and they're saying this is where your technology is going to lead you. And that jibes with what I'm laying out right now, doesn't it? They're here. There's just no doubt about it. Well, whether there's people, you can't. I'm not like I've been mentioning it before. Like I was going through Twitter earlier today, and I was looking at a lot of debunkers' comments pop up, and it's laughable to me now. It's pathetic actually. Like they don't know. I don't think a lot of these people, even though I pointed out to some of them, I said, "Here's the proof." I mean, I don't know why you're still acting like this. Here it is. Check it out. They don't want to do it. They don't want to do it. And then there's also people in the UFO community itself, people who I have a lot of respect for. I'll just tell you right now, there's a lot of people out there who I follow, on different platforms, and and I have a lot of respect for them, but they dismiss this. They dismiss the evidence that has been presented over the last month and a half or so, and they're just not accepting it. I think that they too are in some sort of a shock over this. They just can't accept it at this point. They're in denial. And the denial brought on basically by ontological shock. It's shocking. It's shocking. It is shocking when you look at it and then you realize that there's no going back. I know there's even a lot of people. There's a handful of people on my podcast who listen to me and like what I do. They say things, most of them have been very enthusiastic over the last month and a half, close to 2 months now. There are some, though, that disagree with me, and that's fine. And I'm just here to tell you, my belief is that some people are having trouble digesting the evidence that has been presented. It's shocking. And I could tell you, like I'm sure I mentioned this before, that I myself was very shocked. It scared me somewhat. It took like a week or a week and a half probably to come down off it a little bit. Because it's one thing knowing, like when you're someone in my position who lived his life for a good chunk of my life, I would say probably probably 2/3 maybe. I'm in 55. I started realizing what was going on when I was about, 20, somewhere around there, 18, 19, 20. I had my encounter in the late 70s in 1977, and it was at least 10 years went by until I saw some documentary about alien abduction, and then that's when the light bulb went on over my head, and then I slowly came to understand that that's what was going on when I was a little kid. That explained the being in the room when I was a kid. Like, I always knew it was real. I knew there was no way whatsoever I could ever prove it. I knew that, too. I actually knew that back then, even before I knew it was alien. That's when I used to think it was something demonic. But now, it's different. Now, like, okay, so I guess it must have been around 20, 20 years old. Yeah, I realized it. So now I'm 55. So, a good chunk of my life. We're talking like 35 years here. That I've realized that there's something here. And then, of course, in the early 1990s, 1994, along with the witness, I saw one of these craft that these beings fly around in up close. And there was no doubt. There was no doubt about it that there was no way that what we saw that night could have been made by human beings. There's no way that a craft could fly that close to off the ground right in front of you with no sound whatsoever, and then move incredibly close to trees. No human being would ever dare fly that close to trees that we saw that night. So there was no way. So you go through life then knowing that we're not alone here. But you can't really prove it. How could you really prove it? There's a lot of other evidence out there that other people have. For instance, like the Lonnie Zamora case for 1964. I mean, you have his word. You have the marks in the ground. I mean, that's more evidence than I was able ever to produce to show anybody. All I had is my word. You had Lonnie Zamora. You had that case. There's marks in the ground and little footprints. It looked like burn marks. Things were. There was when that thing took off. But again, it was never enough. None of it. Over all these years, none of these things were never enough. You have, for instance, the Turkey UFO videos. You would think that would be enough, but it never was. It never was. It never was enough, because the reason why it wasn't enough in the eyes of the scientific community is because you still don't have that absolute... There was something missing there. You don't have there wasn't enough to the story, even though you're seeing it with your own eyes. You're seeing alien beings in that craft. There's people right now. I've just seen just talking about it recently. There was a show, the Truth Is Out There, where they talked about this in the past year, and they're not accepting it. That show accepts that, oh yeah, it's a UFO, but we don't know if that's alien beings in there. You're looking at them with your own eyeballs. You see them. You know that that's what they are. I mean, you're fooling yourself if you don't. But for some reason, that doesn't constitute the end-all evidence. But the problem is now we do have it. There was just too many things in the case that I'm talking about. I don't even need to bring it up, actually. I don't even need to say it. You know what I mean. There's just too many things there that makes it impossible to dismiss. It just does. And right now, like I said, there's this feeling within the UFO world. There's this Like I feel like there's some people in shock right now. They're thinking about it. They're nobody wants to talk about it. The debunkers are completely ignoring it because what else could they do? What else could they do? They know it's over. Like deep down, I think a lot of people in their subconscious minds they realizing this. They understand that it's all over now. And that it is real, and that the government has been lying about this for all these decades. What's the government to do? I guess that's the whole question too. What are world governments going to do? Like let's say my theory that I just presented here is correct. That the message is hey, if you guys don't straighten up, we're just going to continue with this program that we've initiated decades ago, and you guys will be gone at some point. What are we to do? If that is the case, do we start talking about this and try to say, well, maybe we better stop, having wars here and stuff? Maybe is that what we need to do? Is there some way we could finally just end all of this nonsense and just try to get along and not try to, force people under your will, under the will of somebody else? Why can't everyone just be free and everybody be happy and just live life like the gift that it is? Maybe that's, we need to start thinking that way. I don't know. That's where I'm at with all of it. But again, we're in this, like, it's like a pause. It's like this calm. It feels like a calm, maybe a calm before the storm. One of the things that I would have to imagine that has gone through the minds of some other people out there, other journalists, other media outlets, the ones that have are knowledgeable now about the evidence that has raised its head to the actually raised its head, and it's trying to get itself up there to the surface, and they're probably looking at these things and they're realizing, this is going to change everything. Like a lot of people are looking at it. They'll look at it over and over again. They'll consider all the evidence, and then they'll come. The conclusion that the proper conclusion is this is going to change everything, because this shows us really what's going on here. There's something here. There's no doubt about it. Now we have the evidence. There's just no doubt. So what happens? One of the concerns here, like in the United States at this time, you have a presidential election. This is, when you think this through, this is not something you want to throw into the middle of a presidential election, right? I just don't see either side would not want that. I don't think. I mean, why would they? Because it's going to complicate things and confuse people, and who knows, like, if it would hurt their campaign or make it better. They don't know. It would be a big chance. You'd be trying to convince people of this reality just a few months before an election. So that's why, one of the reasons why these mainstream outlets are probably going to try to stay away from this, I would imagine, because of those kinds of reasons. It's just so it's earth shattering. This information, the proof that has emerged, is shattering. It's shattering even to people within the UFO community. They're having trouble wrapping their minds around it. That's what's going on. Like I said, I had trouble wrapping my head around it too. It's shocking. It's shocking to know finally, once and for all. Oh wow, that's it. You just know when you see it. It all comes home, and you just, it's it. It's over. And I think some people right now out there are having the same kind of issues. I mean, I know a lot of people have their own agendas out there too. People within the UFO community have their own agendas. I mean, they didn't think this is not the way I wanted it to go down. I did not want it to go down this way. So you know what? I'm going to ignore that. You're probably going to get some of that in here too. But who cares? It doesn't really matter. People are going to be people. It's just the way we are. What are you going to do? But it's there, and it's over. Now it's time to start speculating. What is going on here? What the hell is going on here? We need to start asking questions. We need to have more scientists involved. That's the problem. That's the issue that I have more than anything. The whole problem over all these years, you look back at the Condon report. Edward Condon says, well, there's no reason that we should be wasting our time studying UFOs. There's nothing there. Nothing to it. Not enough information there to study anything. So why even worry about it? That's a big mistake. That was a big mistake when you really look at it. That was one of the biggest debacles. Edward Condon was one of the biggest debacles of ever, as far as I'm concerned. Because the scientific community, the entire scientific community, needed to be in on this a long time ago, and if they need to get in on it now, the whole thing. Now we do have some scientists interested, of course. We have Avi Loeb and Gary Nolan, among others, who give it credence. But it's time that they all start studying this. We need more people like to study the abduction phenomenon, like David Jacobs. Is this? I mean, he came to certain findings. I mean, we need to have other people come and study this and Do they come up with the same results, the same conclusions, or is there something else there that they might find? I mean, I don't like David Jacobs' conclusions, and I don't think David Jacobs, in fact, I'm sure he doesn't like his conclusions. That's why we need to start taking this a little bit more seriously now. Just recently on the show, I had different guests on, like Dr. Keith Taylor and Richard Lang, talking about the importance of first responders having some sort of a plan in place on how to deal with UFOs. And there are people out there starting to take it seriously, but the rest of the world, the rest of the entire scientific community, we all need to start taking it a little bit more seriously, because it's really going on. There's really something here. And we'll see how it goes here from here on out, but I'm optimistic. I think a lot of it has to do with the politics of the situation right now. I think one of the reasons, I could tell you this. I'm going to tell you something, folks. In some corners of the internet, I feel a little bit of shadow banning going on with some of the things I've been doing, and it's understandable. You could see. I could have called that a mile away, and that's fine. That's fine. That doesn't mean it's going to be contained forever. I'm sure that the Pentagon is aware of the things that have been getting talked about on here, on some other channels about this evidence that has emerged, and they're probably trying to come up with a game plan. And we'll see. Well, that game plan will reveal itself at some point, but if it has anything to do with trying to lie, anything to do with trying to gaslight anyone, that's not going to work this time. I'm afraid to tell you. In fact, just so everyone out there knows, there's more evidence coming. More. Yes, more. And this is bad news. Let me tell you something. It's going to be a bad day for the debunkers. They really need to start sending out their resumes, because they need to find something different to do with themselves. It's coming, folks. It's coming, and there's no stopping it. I could say this. The case that I'm talking about, it serves as a bulldozer. It's a bulldozer that's going to push right through the entire cover-up. It's going to be at the head of the fight to end the cover-up. That's what it is. It's a bulldozer. That's what it is. And it's coming. No stopping it. Unlimited gasoline in there. Yeah, it's coming. It's knocking everything down with it. It's coming. No stopping it. And more people are going to learn about it. And it's not all the king's horses, all the king's men. They're not going to put it together again. Just like the old Humpty Dumpty rhyme. Yeah, that's what it is. Just so everyone's aware. Yeah, it's time to turn the corner and start thinking about the implications of it all. That's what we need to be doing. Not this nonsense anymore. No more stupid games and fighting back and forth and saying, I think it's real. No, I think it's not real. That doesn't count anymore. I don't even care about that. That's stupid. There's no point in really having those arguments with anybody anymore. The people who don't want to accept this reality that we are not alone, well, go ahead. Hang out somewhere else with the flat earthers. I know there's some people out there telling me now, I'm getting messages, believe it or not, saying there's something to that flat earth. Well, let me tell you something. No, there's not. Anyway, okay, moving on. I want to get caught up on my recent Spotify polls. I did have 2 polls that I didn't cover yet. And for the episode, Reverse PSYOP, or Say Hello to My Little Ontological Shock, I asked this question: will Green Street flip? Of course, what I'm asking there, Stephen Greenstreet, is the reason why we all know Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick is a liar. Because, of course, Greenstreet's a giant debunker. Makes a fool out of himself every single day, it seems, on Twitter. Says a lot of stupid stuff. And some of us thought maybe this is a good time for him to flip. Or maybe he was just playing the Pentagon for playing along with them for a while just for information. Maybe that was the case. Well, we got 25 votes so far on this. Will he flip? 9 people, or 36%, say yes, while 16 people, or 64%, say no. I'm going to go with the no's. I mean, he's going to flip at some point, right? But it's not going to be a real flip. The only time that he'll flip is when it becomes untenable, acting like a debunker. Then he'll flip. He'll wait till right to the last second, right when it's really over, just to try to save face. That's not going to count. Had he flipped, like, say, today or last week or next week, if he were to flip, then that would be different. Then that would be different. But that's not. I don't think that's going to happen. I just don't see it. So when he does flip, it will come when there's no more reason to pretend you're a debunker anymore. That's when it will come, and that won't count in my book. So yeah, I agree with the majority there. And then for the episode, Threats Need to Stop, I asked this question. Knowing how smart you are now with regard to the Vegas alien case being 100% real, do you enjoy being so right about everything? 27 votes so far. 8 people, or 29.6%, say no, while 19 people, or 70.4%, say yes. Now, of course, this question was just a lot of fun, but just to make up, to put in there. Because, for one thing, it's debunker proof, it's skeptic proof. No matter what you say, right? It's, do you enjoy it or not? Okay, what are you going to say if you're a debunker? Damn, it doesn't matter. Yeah, so if you said no on this, right, that means that you don't like it. You're having trouble thinking about knowing being so smart. I don't know if I enjoy it too much. It's okay being smart, but you know what? I'm not sure I'm happy with it. And then if you said yes, it's like, you know what? I'm really happy. I'm 100% right about this. Thank God. I'm glad I'm on the top of the heap. I get an A+ on my test paper. Anyway. One more thing, and this is for the benefit of my Spotify listeners. I did a recent little short again, a sequel to the the Las Vegas Alien Aftermath. Now I have Las Vegas Alien Aftermath Part 2, which I had uploaded onto YouTube yesterday. It's a little 2-minute short, satirical short, just trying to make some points, and I do plan on making more in the future. And I want to share it with all my listeners out there on Spotify. See, the reason I didn't upload this onto Spotify by itself is because that's not right. I mean, it's more of a visual thing. I mean, about half of the people that follow me on Spotify, they listen to it while the other half watches the video of it. I mean, even if you're just listening to this, you're going to get the gist of it. But just to upload this, a little 2.5 minute video, I think that's what it is, 2.5 minutes, somewhere around there. If I would have uploaded that's, I don't want to do that. So I'd rather include it in one of my podcasts, which I'm going to do right now. So if you haven't seen it yet or heard it yet, here's my sequel to the Las Vegas Alien Aftermath. I hope you enjoy it.
Now look, we've been working together since the 1973 Pascagoula case, and we've always come out of rough waters unscathed. This time I'm not so sure.
Like I indicated previously, this Vegas stuff will soon blow over. We've got our human collaborators on it as we speak. We have a stable of human debunkers, double agents, dum-dums, idiots, and dopes, dreaming up all sorts of lies and deceptions to foist upon the moronic human public. As you know, you keep telling humans something over and over again, even if it's not true, they'll believe it. They're dumb like that.
I hear what you're saying, but I'm not convinced. What about that captain? Captain Uranus, I like to call him, that had his ugly face captured on camera. Did you make him pay?
Yes, he's still in hospital licking his wounds, idiot. I tried to tell him to be careful. He wouldn't listen. He flubbed up.
You too! You flubbed up too, Mel!
Now, wait a minute. We've been friends a long time. You know how thorough I am.
Not thorough enough, I'm afraid. It's not just the fakes above the fence we need to worry about. What about the jackass who scared them out of the yard? Now, pass those big bug eyes of yours over there on that monitor. He's on camera, too. And then there's this meteor business. I'm afraid you stepped into it this time, Mel. You really did.
We could tell these dummies it's only a coyote or a raccoon or swamp gas or something.
Now you're getting me mad. They ain't that stupid. I have superiors to answer to, too. They're going to want to know why you were taking chances in the Vegas quadrant in the first place. Extra special caution is required in that region because Area 51 is in Nevada. You flubbed up too, Mel.
Are you suggesting that I deserve to be punished as well?
Christ, are you that stupid? Yes! Yes, I am! I have no choice! Where do you want it? Head, gut, or...
Head. Make it the head.
I'm sorry, Mel. I'm really sorry. I hope this doesn't have a negative impact on our longtime friendship. Anyway, engage the lightning bolts. Head area.
I want to hope you enjoyed that. I want to say this. I want to say thank you all for joining me. Until next time.